Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. The joys of driving a stick shift. Let's rev up this story and peel out into the madness of road rage encounters. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. An alternate response to dealing with road rage. I want to start off with a little bit of background. My car is a stick shift, and for those that don't really know stick, it requires an extra step when you want to accelerate from a stop. Unlike a car with an automatic transmission, which you just let off the brake and hit the gas pedal, a manual, on the other hand, requires you to press a clutch, put the car in gear, and then let off the clutch while applying the gas. It doesn't require much extra time over an automatic, but it definitely isn't as instantaneous as an automatic. Now on to the story. I was sitting at a stoplight and was at the very front of the line. The road I was on was 2 lanes wide, and both lanes had roughly 3 or 4 cars in them. The light turns green, and I'm reaching over to shift into gear when someone starts blaring their horn, and not like the polite pay attention beat, but you just cut me off on the highway and almost killed me honk. Keep in mind that the light had literally just turned green and no cars had moved yet. The horn actually made me stop dead in my tracks, and I looked around, as was the car next to me, to see if someone had blown a red light or there was a close call with a pedestrian or something. That's when I look in my rearview mirror and see that no one was in any danger, as it was the angry little man in the car behind me, and he was honking at me. This guy's wailing his arms around maniacally and screaming what I can only imagine to be obscenities at me. Now, my initial reaction is to flick this little jerk off. But I realized something, and all of a sudden, all of my counter rage is gone. The guy desperately wants to go, but can't because of me and because of the wall of cars that are to his side. So I calmly shift my car into gear and accelerate as slowly as I can through the intersection. I might have been going 5 miles per hour through that intersection. The guy realizes what I'm doing and loses it. I can't even imagine what he's saying at this point. He finally gets an opportunity to switch lanes and gets out from behind me as I'm still driving as slow as I possibly can without being a total jerk to the other people on the road. I'm laughing hysterically at this point, thinking that my fun is all over now. But the car that he's behind now decides to make a left turn and comes to a dead stop. I watch this guy flick off the car making the left turn and then get even more pissed when he realizes he has to get behind me again. We get past the car making a left turn, and there's now an open lane for him to pass me in. He promptly speeds up and gets around me, then cuts me off. Finally, there's open road for him to rage down without any a-holes like me slowing down his fast and furious lifestyle. Once again, I'm thinking that my fun is over. Due to the slow driving and then getting stuck behind the car making the left turn, he missed the next light that was about a block or 2 from where this whole ordeal originated. And remember how he felt the need to cut me off? Well, now we're both sitting at the light with me behind him. He's gesturing towards me, and I know exactly what he's screaming in that car based off the gestures. He's yelling at me about how this is my fault that he missed the light, as well as some other obscenities, I imagine. The light turned green. He was so busy yelling at me that he wasn't paying attention, so there was only one completely rational response. I punched my horn and let it blare. The last I saw him do was a little nod and what looked like a small wave as he turned back to his steering wheel and drove off. Edit. I just want to be clear that pretty much all the time I'm ready to go at a light as I'm watching the cross-traffic light so I don't hold up traffic. In this particular instance, I was not able to see the cross-traffic light, so I couldn't be 100% prepared to go right when the light changed. Also, with a heavy clutch, it can be very wearing on my leg to hold it the whole time. Instead, I can just shift quickly and generally get off the line just as fast as any other car. Would love to see his reaction to the start-stop systems. They add an extra second for the engine restart, and if there's a sticker, you still have to put it in gear as the system only works in neutral. And our second story. Get the new guy to do the order that requires perfection? Sure. Okay, so I worked in a warehouse that had a retail shop attached to the front. We sold all sorts of random stuff from car parts to electronics. We sold wholesale and retail from the same stock. While I was in charge of the warehouse, I did most of the outgoing orders. I had systems in place for different customers as each customer required different results. The same job for one customer could take twice as long as another customer. So we get a massive order to be exported to a nearby country. Hundreds of little parts and no stickers are to be attached to any of it, as our stickers had our pricing on it and the exported products would be in a different currency. So I start setting up to do the job and putting things in big piles so they'll stack nicely. But the boss comes wandering out and tells me the new guy, who's on probationary wages, so way cheaper than me, will be doing this order. I state very clearly that he's not capable of doing it, as this customer requires that no mistakes are made. Errors with quantities could land us in hot water, especially with tax and customs. I don't want to sound like I was God's gift to warehouses, but I was good at what I did because I used systems to double-check my own work. That takes time, though. Who knows, maybe that's how I came across when I said the dude couldn't do it. In any case, I get into a lightly heated argument with the boss as I did not want to clean this mess up. He flipped his lid and told me to keep the hell away from the job. So I stay well clear of the poor dude. He's lost and floundering. I can see he's left stickers on whole boxes of product. He isn't doing anything by my procedures and isn't double-checking his own work. Not surprising, as I hadn't taught him yet, which meant the likelihood of a mistake would be huge. He needs help desperately, but I was nowhere to be found. Boss man would never stoop so low as to come find me, so he gets another new guy to help. Second new guy has the same lack of knowledge, so now there are two people doing the job badly. I remain hidden. The days roll on and the palette fades from memory until I hear a frantic boss man screaming about a messed up order. Now, I'm always the first to admit fault if something goes down. It's not valor, it's just less likely you'll get in trouble for something you admit rather than hide. So I go in and see what's happening to try to fix whatever order had been routed. He's going off like a frog in a sock. His face is red and his breathing is labored. Apoplexy is setting in. He's had to give thousands of dollars of stock away as an entire order was rejected for being totally and utterly wrong. Entire boxes of hundreds of parts are incorrect as someone has read the part number wrong. There were hundreds of stickers on product. Some parts were oversupplied and some under, but notably the entire value of the supplied product exceeds the invoiced amount. This is very bad. He comes straight at me, waving the pick list like some demented zombie, yelling about incompetence and stupidity. He shoves it in my face, and I quickly look at the bottom to notice a severe lack of my signature. There are, in fact, 2 names at the bottom of that sheet, but neither of them are mine. I calmly hand it back and say those deadly words I'd rehearsed earlier. Sorry, nothing to do with me. You'll have to check with those guys. The look of sudden realization was beautiful. I'd heard him try to blame the 2 new guys and yell at them, but they rightly said, "We did our best. It was our first time, and OP was supposed to do it anyway. He knows all the procedures." And it kind of fell flat after that. I encountered this sort of thing a lot, but as the head stock attendant, I usually had the clout to tell them to jam it. I couldn't veto the boss, though, so this sort of thing tended to only occur when he decided to get involved. God save us from managers who think they know the procedures better than those who do the task on a day-to-day basis. And our next story. Wild Karen in the pharmacy. Some relevant information. I'm 6'5" and 250 pounds. I don't have the temperament for retail. I work alone as a delivery driver, taking pharmaceuticals from a central warehouse to several stores. All for the same blue CAD company. I'm easily bothered by the way customers treat pharmacy techs. Seriously, guys, it's not their fault your insurance didn't go through. Yelling won't change that. I become fairly close with a lot of these techs as they have to see me daily. Now to the incident. I walked into the store dragging my cart full of boxes. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. As I come up to the counter, there's this woman screaming at the tech. This tech was under 20 years old and was backing up as far as she could. The pharmacist was giving a shot and couldn't leave for a minute. I was almost giddy at this, as I'd planned for weeks what I would do if this situation ever came up in front of me. I walked up to this pleasantly plump woman with her bleached blonde soccer mom haircut and oversized pink glasses. "Excuse me, ma'am." "What?" she yelled, spinning on her heel and looking me dead in the, I wish I could say well-defined, but why lie, chest. Then she slowly looked up at my not at all handsome or smiling face. "Do you really want to be yelling at someone who can replace your insulin with sugar water?" "Excuse me?" she said, not quite as mean as before. I think what I said was sinking in. "Think about it, ma'am. This lady could though I don't think she would, replace one of your pills with potassium cyanide and no one could ever trace it. She stormed off. The tech thanked me and I made my delivery. Just as I was getting the last signature, the customer came storming back. She, of course, was dragging the store manager. "That's him. I demand that you fire him." "I can't. He doesn't really work here." I spent the rest of the week waiting for my boss to fire me. The next day, that pharmacy gave me a plate of homemade brownies. I've spent the last 6 years waiting for a chance to use that line again, but so far, no luck. I always think that these poor Karens must feel so impotent and unseen in their lives that they act out like this to assert their control and remind themselves that they're important. It's immature toddler behavior, but at some point it's worked for them and they've used it ever since to get their way. And our last story. The HOA wants $400K for roof repairs. I live in a condo and our HOA is made up of 100 units. I've lived here since 2018. At the time, there was a big deal made about roof repairs. We paid $75 a month in fees and the HOA is supposed to be responsible for the roof. The only other thing the HOA pays for is lawn maintenance and trash pickup. Back in 2018, they said we had to replace all the roofs and quoted the job at around $400,000, which would cost around $4,000 for each owner. This special assessment was voted down and nothing was said again. Last Saturday was the annual meeting, which I was unable to attend. I came home to find some documents taped to my door stating, "Do not pay your July dues." Basically, one person in the neighborhood is calling for a special meeting to remove 2 of the board members who've been on the board since 2018 and fire the management company. I came home today and found another document on my door, this time from the management company, stating that this person is spreading false information, possibly committing fraud, and she's being served with a cease and desist order. The management company also stated there will be a follow-up meeting in the next 60 days to discuss the special assessment. If it were up to me, these 2 board members would be removed. We'd get a new management company and we'd rewrite the bylaws to lower our fees and make each homeowner responsible for their own roof. There are 2 other development phases, and that's how their HOA is ran. The roof repair does not seem logical to me. The management company has terrible Yelp reviews, some of which state they tried to run the roof repair scam on their subdivisions. The fact of the matter is, I can afford the proposed assessment if it goes through. At the same time, I do not want a target on my back from the current board members if the vote to remove them goes south. Update. A special meeting was held by the homeowners to vote to remove the 2 board members and fire the management company. We needed 63 votes to pass. We only had around 40 people show up, so nothing happened. However, it seems that in the bylaws, it's written that since we did not have enough people show up to vote for a majority, we could meet again and only need around half the original number. So that meeting was held Saturday, and everyone in attendance, 44 people, voted to remove the members. There was a notice on my door Saturday evening stating the outcome and telling us that the current board members and management company would receive a letter by certified mail on Monday that their services were no longer needed. They also stated we have a new board, presumably voted in at the meeting on Saturday, and will be self-managed. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.